You know, I was thinking the other day, Jared, I love the drumming in that band that you were telling me all about. Who is the drummer in that band?
What band?
Exactly, that's the problem. Dave, we were talking about that other drummer, and it's like, what was the name of that drummer?
Yeah, I can't put a finger on it, but he was such a good drummer. Definitely changed the way I play.
And Brandon, you were telling me all about this other drummer, and I honestly cannot remember. Now, I'm getting old. I cannot remember anything about who it was.
The one in that video?
Yeah, the one in the video.
Yeah, I don't know.
There are so many drummers out there, everybody. But you know what? It's hard to keep track of them all. There's lots that get lots of attention, but there are so many that inspire us that just get forgotten or overlooked. Today on the Drum Department, we are going to talk all about our favorite forgotten drummers so they don't get forgotten. And the next time we ask these questions, we'll remember the answers. Starting right now on the Drum Department. Nice.
I was trying to do it.
That was good.
Well, you know,
That's a pretty shuffle.
I wish I could forget about a certain drummer.
Let's start with that. Who is
Starting
it?
with
here,
that.
Dave.
Name names.
Hey, do you guys want to talk about these?
Glance. Podcast, no one will know what you're talking about.
If only
Yeah,
I could burn it from my memory.
He definitely wasn't looking at me when he said that. That's so for all you podcast
Definitely not.
listeners out there.
And Dave, thank you for turning your hat around. Now they won't confuse the two of us.
Yeah. I always make sure I spin it when I see you with a hat on.
No
Appreciate
one knows
that.
what this that stuff is on Drumeo. Not as much, like Musora and piano.
Yeah, I got a piano hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got a Musora shirt.
Yeah,
But we're not talking about me. We're talking about
We
forgotten
are.
drummers.
This whole thing is about how we're going to forget you.
Yeah. There's so many.
The
10
strategy
steps
to
to
forget
forgetting
Dave.
your favorite
Yeah.
drummers.
And we're going to get into our favorite forgotten drummers in a second. But first, we have some breaking news.
Oh, geez, we have a news splat.
That's right. Hot off the presses, everybody.
Oh.
On Saturday at Glastonbury, Rick Astley performed. That's not breaking news.
That's pretty breaking.
What's breaking news is he did Highway to Hell while playing the drums and singing.
Oh, really?
Let's show it.
It went easy, it went free. The season taking on one way right. Asking nothing, even me. Taking everything round right. Don't need reason, don't need right. Ain't nothing I would rather do. Going down, hard time. My friends are gonna need it. No stop sign, speed limit. Nobody's gonna slow me down. Like the wheel, gonna spin it. Nobody's gonna mess me around. Hey, say that, pay my dues. I'm ready to rock and bang. Hey, mama, look at me. I'm on my way to the promised land. I'm on a
Okay, super cool. I showed more of that than I normally would. There's a reason, though.
Oh, okay.
Screws up the vocals, screws up the drumming.
Well, the mic stand was broken.
He's just like
from the
constantly,
get-go.
but he never loses his cool.
No.
And I just wanted everybody to see that. If you're out there and you're a beginner drummer, it's okay. Just keep playing.
Well, he's got the fail-safe. Is like he's not a drummer.
Right.
So he can mess up. It's like, oh, guys, I'm not
fine.
really
Because
a
he goes
drummer.
into the bridge and he realizes he screwed up. He's got to sing the second verse. He's like, stick twirl, back into the verse.
Even that, that's a ballsy move to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stick twirl.
And not playing in front of 5 people. might I add.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
40,000 people.
Yeah.
Kudos to Rick Astley.
Yeah.
The
that.
unsung hero, the forgotten drummer.
Well, people forget
Rick
he
Astley.
played drums before he was a singer. All right, So getting right into it, we got a lot to cover today. So forgotten drummers. Why are we talking about forgotten drummers? Well, I know if you ask any of us, we've all had like huge inspiration in our musical journeys from drummers that are just not household names. There's something about their drumming, there's something about their playing or their bands that we really resonated with. And it's really important, I think, when you find those kind of pearls of wisdom when you're not expecting to find them, they become yours. You know, if you're big into Metallica, that's cool, but everybody shares Metallica, so to speak. But if you find a band that's like maybe not as well known, you're like, yeah, that's my vibe.
Yeah.
I want to get into that, right? So today we're going to share all of our favorite kind of forgotten drummers. But what makes a drummer influential, you guys? Is it just being in a popular band? Is it having that unique voice? What makes a drummer have that thing? What is it?
I think it's different for different people because some people will only know the drummer from the bands that they're in, and then there's other drummers that will know them just for their sheer technical ability. You know, so for me, someone that is influential is someone who kind of changes or puts their stamp on a genre of music. Right? You think about Dave Grohl from the grunge era, like he definitely had some influence on that style of music and so forth. So that's kind of what I'd say, but I think it is different for everybody.
I think the biggest thing is like purity within
I
their
love that.
artistic pathway. Something I've been thinking a lot more about is just like
What do you mean by purity?
purity meaning. I can't say the quotes. I'm not nearly eloquent enough, but something to the effect of when your art is created without any thought of anyone or anything other than what you think you should create and what you love personally as a human. That's the most pure form. But generally, art, especially nowadays, you have algorithms that dictate what's cool. It's
commodified.
People think about that. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create this, but that wouldn't do well if I did that on. So it's right away it's tainted. And I think the lesser the taint. All right, that's it for me, guys.
And you said you weren't eloquent.
The lesser the taint, he literally is moving.
I need to do
The
it.
timeout.
I need this thing.
Okay.
I think I get what you're
Jared, you almost landed that plane, and you drove it right into the side of the mountain.
Well, the tint. I should say.
Got it. No, but I think that's a great way of saying that, though. You're right.
Yeah.
If you remember to make the art for the sake of making the art and the love of the art, instead of saying, hey, we're going to sit down. I'm sure, Dave, when you were in Yucca, you must have had moments in that band, especially when there's pressure on the band. We got to write a hit song.
Yeah. For sure.
And I'll bet some of the best things you wrote came out of long jam sessions that had nothing to do with that.
Well, or the thing you're most proud of as a drummer is on a song that no one listens to, or is like,
totally.
That happens all the time. But Jared, you said something about algorithms changing or dictating. Now that was the same in the '90s. It was just record labels that did that.
Yeah.
They were the ones that chose what got on the radio and all that. So.
And that's why you'll hear artists talk about. I was just listening to a Kelly Clarkson interview on Stern, and she was talking about when she would bring a song or an album to the label, and the label would say, Kelly, we don't think this is going to work for you. And so they start to kind of inject their more commercial minds, which, I mean, to some extent, if you want to be an artist that sustains, you have to sell out in some way if you want to actually make money at your art. And I don't want to say sell it it's always such a negative word, right? But I don't want to say sell it, but I want to say you have to think about your sustainability as an artist and to feed yourself and to feed your family, if that's really important to you. And so that's the balance.
Totally.
It's a difficult thing.
Okay, so we framed it, and we want to hear from everybody out there. So let's hear who some of your most inspirational drummers are that maybe don't get talked about all the time. But we're going to talk about a bunch that we've selected. We've each selected 3 that are near and dear to our hearts. We're going to get right into it right now. Today, we get right into the challenge.
Just scream. What is the challenge?
Yeah, what is the challenge?
The challenge is that we
main
had to
thing?
prepare all this stuff, yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Challenge.
I like it.
So we're each gonna present 3 different unsung heroes. I'm gonna start because I'm sitting here. We're gonna get to see a bunch, and we've got a couple of honorable mentions as well as we go. So my 3, we're gonna start with one of my all-time favorite drummers, Mark Craney. Anybody here familiar with Mark Craney?
Heard the name.
Okay, so Mark Craney was very influential in the late 70s, early 80s. Sadly died very young, but played on a classic, which we're going to see in a second, from Gino Vanelli. Did a whole bunch of other studio and session stuff. He would have been a contemporary of Jeff Beccaro during his height of performance, but Mark is much more of that kind of prog guy. So there's a lot more flair happening in a lot of his playing. He had more space. And was a left-handed drummer, so we didn't see a lot of those. And he played full lefty. So let's check out this clip of Mark Craney playing with Gino Vanelli.
Jeez.
Heck yeah.
What an era!
No doubt.
I love those fives in there. Dun, 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 dun.
That.
Yeah.
And like you're like first a little bit, you're like, and then he starts going off. You're like,
Or like the hi-hat barks and stuff. Like
he reminds
brings
me
them up.
of, like, he would have been a contemporary to like Steve Smith to me. In the way he plays and his approach, got that jazzy vibe. And that's, if you've never seen that clip of Gino Vanelli, what an era where he could be doing all those flowing moves. That's like a big hit. There's a big drum fill. That's an 8-minute song.
Wow.
It's like, it's a prog with vocals. It's like Dream Theater before Dream Theater.
And was that a
Yeah.
hit, like a radio hit?
Totally.
Yes, Brother to Brother. I mean, it wasn't his biggest radio hit. He had a Black Cars and so it actually won off that record. I Just Want to Stop ballad, but that one is like a classic, and it's kind of it's like a really proggy sort of pop tune, if you will.
Brother to Brother? That's
Brother
the
to
band?
Brother's the album,
I had to check
and
that
it's
out.
Gino
Yeah.
Vanelli is the artist. Gino Vanelli, Canadian.
Really?
Nice.
No
From-
kidding.
From out east, I assume.
Yeah, I think he's from Quebec.
Yeah.
So Kyle, why should the community out there, the drummers out there, go and check them out? Like, what should they look for when they're listening to him? Because that's the thanks. That's what I was trying to picture. My drummers that I selected, like, to give a reason why you should go listen to this.
Oh, I think you have to find whatever it is. Like, for me, I got into Mark Craney quite late.
Yeah.
Like, this is not something I grew up listening to. I checked this out when I was kind of maybe 10 years ago, checking out some of the drummers that I hadn't seen much before. So when I came across what he was doing, and everyone's like, you got to check out Mark Craney. I was like, okay. Just a phenomenally musical drummer in what he plays. And I think you can be inspired by that. You know, like you said, makes you want to play, right?
Yeah.
That's it, exactly that. I hear what he played in those fills. There's a million live versions of Gino playing that song. What he plays is the most interesting to me, right? He could have played a million things. I love what he played there. Why did
Cool.
he choose those things?
Yeah.
Right. All right,
Good choice.
my next choice. This is actually Canadian drummer, probably not well known outside of our country, and even so, not that well known inside the country. But he's been called the Dave Weckl before Dave Weckl. His name is Paul Brochu. He played in a band called Uzeb, still out there, still active, still playing to this day. But check out this clip. You'll hear all kinds of Weckl-isms in his playing, though he's probably 15 years older than Dave. Check him out.
Heck yeah.
I mean, it's got the
Dude.
same kind of sound.
Yeah.
You nailed it on the head with the Dave Weckl before Weckl. I could guarantee like that one groove where he's on the tom and the snare. I've
Yeah.
heard Dave play that.
Now, that
beat.
clip is from the very end of that band. That is from 1990, so obviously Weckl had already been established at that point. But when I first heard of this band, Uzeb, they're a fusion band from Quebec from way back in the day. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was Weckl,
No kidding.
right? And I was like, no, that's Paul Brochu, man. I'm like, who's Paul Brochu? Phenomenal drummer. And I've lifted 1,000 things off this record. This is from a live album called Uzeb World Tour 90. I've stolen so many licks off this record.
No kidding.
Do you think they'll ever bring back drum sets that are set up like that? Like that seems like it's just a ramp going.
Yeah.
Like the
What an
snare
era,
and the
man.
toms. Like you don't see that anymore.
No,
you
like you
don't.
see him playing when he's coming over here, like it's literally almost behind him.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like a wash.
That's awesome.
Well,
But yeah, check out
with
Paul
the
Groshue,
deep toms
folks.
of like the late '80s and stuff.
yeah.
Too, you had to angle them this way. Like you
Yeah.
see these kits, like even the kits Weckel was playing on
Yeah.
back then. It's like,
Well, that's the other crazy thing is like even setup wise, they're very similar. Both were running electronic pads and acoustic drums at that point in their careers.
Yeah.
But like the sound of the drums is the same. Like
Yeah.
it's really interesting. So I don't know if Paul influenced Weckel at all. Dave doesn't really talk about him, so I have no idea. But I love Paul's playing. That whole video, he plays drums for a good part of it. They do a bunch of stuff where they're like, he's playing melodic ideas, like early MIDI days. But there's also a section where they do an acoustic thing where he plays a bunch of hand percussion, timbales, and a bunch of other stuff, and it's killer. It's so good.
Very cool.
Paul Groshue, check him out. All right, my last one, I actually changed this one because I had another Canadian chosen here, and I had the advantage of seeing your lists when you guys sent them in. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go a different direction. So this was an album that blew my mind when it came out. I still steal stuff off this record to this day. He's a known drummer, but I don't think he gets near enough credit for his band and their groundbreaking work in what they did in the rock scene. Keep in mind, this band came out in 1988 with their big record in the middle of the hair metal era, and they threw down. Check this out. This is Will Calhoun with Living Color. everybody.
Nice.
good choice.
Like,
Will at his like finest there.
he's like, he brought funk to rock in such a way. The sound of his drums is big and authoritative, doesn't waste a note. But when he plays a lick, you feel it. Like that one lick. I've used this. I probably, if you catch me on a gig where I'm getting a chance to stretch out a bit, you will hear me go. And I'll never forget that. And he was the first guy, aside from like, you know, some of the fusion guys that were doing like all the. He does the. And it's like, you know, this is like a rock band. And like just the guitar playing and everything in that band. Living Color, they only have like 5 records out. They're still touring today. That clip's from last year.
no kidding.
And they're still just so
Yeah.
heavy. I wish they got more credits. And I wished I had gone to see them when they did their first big tour opening for the Stones.
Oh wow.
Oh, man.
And probably one of the coolest setups too.
Right?
It's like the thunder sheet or whatever
Yeah.
you call it, and the weird
Yeah.
pedals or something too.
Yeah.
They're offset.
Yeah.
Yes, the ones that the middle of the beater is obviously
Right,
the middle,
the-
but
the-
then he's got the 2 pedals
Yeah.
offsetting it. Yeah.
That splits the middle of the drum. Totally,
But
yeah.
there's still 2 kicks in there, was there not?
That one is a more contemporary setup for him. He changes that setup all the time. I think the touring one is more normal.
Yeah.
Because he does all kinds of other stuff now, right? But like
Yeah.
we in history cannot forget how important that band was to rock in general at that
Yeah.
point.
Well, the nice thing with Will is too is we have a bunch of videos of him.
Yeah.
He came out 2016, I think it was.
Yeah.
like 6 years ago. So if you want to learn more just about his playing style, and it's like go check out those
Yeah,
videos.
and he's a
but-
super deep guy, right? The
Yeah,
drumming's
yeah.
amazing. But yeah, don't forget about him. That's a key one for me. All right, we're gonna show a quick clip. This is an honorable mention of mine. This is a favorite that I always used to teach everybody because it's such a crazy clip. Canadian drummer named Michelle Cormier. It's a song called SEC. This is a really wacky way to play a 12/8 groove. And Brandon and I are going to switch places, and we're going to find out what your choices are next. Check this out.
Rhythms.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure, you want to teach a lesson on polyrhythms. Sure. I was trying to figure out what that odd note grouping was inside of that.
Yeah.
Is this
He's
a two-bar
opening-
pattern
He's opening the hi-hats.
in the middle?
Is it in the middle? Is it in the middle triplet?
Yeah. Ugly.
It's
Yeah,
so it offsets every bar, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
a
no.
two-bar pattern for the bass drum. Do, 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 do.
Just go ahead and play it for us, Brendan.
Yeah. Just let me show
It's
you.
almost like a broken cascara on the bass drum
Yeah.
with this crazy open hi-hat with the thing in the middle. When I first heard it, I was like, what is he doing? And I had to sit down and learn it, and it took me like an hour and a half, and that's like a 4-way independence exercise.
So you can play that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you play it before you
Because
left?
Come on, Kyle.
Because it was a normal mention.
You have to play it before the end of the show.
All right.
You can close with that.
Brandon,
Yeah.
talk about yours.
Okay,
Forgotten
this is gonna
Heroes.
be a bit different from yours. It's
great.
There's I grew up listening to a lot of different kinds of music, and even now I just love dabbling in tons of different stuff. So the first one is, some of you may be familiar with a band called Hiatus Coyote. Do any of you know that band?
Oh, I've heard hi.
You've heard of them?
Oh, for sure.
Kyle?
Yeah.
You have? And the drummer's name is Perrin Moss. And the cool thing about him is he's got kind of like a hip hop approach. He's very like improvisational. He does a lot where he kind of flows in and out of subdivisions and stuff like that, where sometimes it's perfectly in time and sometimes he'll like blend from one to the other. So that kind of stuff. And also just the sounds that he has on his kit. He often has percussion, does a lot of like cross stick stuff that's really interesting, muted strokes. So this clip is from a song called By Fire, and this is a live clip. So yeah, let's check it out.
Yes, I give you the hand of hold on. Darkness and death, where I see through the lens of
Jeez.
So like you hear some of that stuff where it's like in and out of like perfect time.
Yeah.
And it's got like some of the Dilla feel in there. And that was one of the first bands that I actually heard using that feel that like really got me interested.
He's got total mastery of what he's doing there. He can go in and out. You can hear it. He's shading it as he's playing. He's not just saying, okay, we're going to play drunken here.
Yeah.
We're going to go a little bit. And that one guy in the audience is so into it.
Yeah.
He was totally, he's vibing hard.
Yeah.
He was vibing hard.
Trying to keep up.
Totally.
No, I could have listened to the whole song there. That was so good.
So
Yeah.
textural, man.
And they do a lot of stuff where like the bass and drums are perfectly locked. And then other stuff where the drums are in like a totally other world.
It's like implied modulation a little bit. You know, you kind of get this weird tension, but
Yes.
Yeah.
it's so smooth the way he brings it all together. They have a lot of music like that.
What's implied modulation?
It's like a metric modulation, but it doesn't actually change. So it's implied it feels that way. But you can notate it on
What's
a bar.
modulation?
Hey,
What's modulation?
I have a lesson on it, man. Level 6.
Screwing with you.
Nice.
You guys want to learn all
hang
about
on.
metric modulation and implied metric modulation.
Do you ever not take the bait? I'm just curious.
The difference, yeah.
He has to. at
No,
this
the
point.
thing is, I know he knows that because me and him used to have lots of discussions. But it is really hard to explain.
It is, especially we used to go
It's very
back
hard
and
to
forth
explain. It is.
on polymeter versus polyrhythm.
Yeah.
I actually had many arguments on that one. So, but we don't need to talk about that.
My bird swallowed a clock. Now my poly ticks. Anyways,
You can see yourself out.
Perrin Moss, right?
Perrin Moss.
Yeah. Who's number 2?
Number 2, this is switching gears to some prog stuff. And I know, Dave, you're a big prog fan.
Ooh.
And oftentimes we talk about Gavin Harrison, Mike Portnoy, Mangini, Matt
Nick
Garska,
DiVigilio.
all these guys. And I feel like one that goes under the radar all the time, and I believe they're an Australian band. The band is called Carnivool, and the drummer is Steve Judd. Dave, you're a fan?
I'm a fan.
Okay. I feel like he never got or never gets the recognition. Some of his parts are just crazy. And this clip is of the song. I even forget what song I chose. Let's just play it.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
the thing about that I think just his playing in general that got me is he weaves all these like really subtle like rhythmic stuff into his playing. So even there, I think it was some kind of triplet that he put in there, and it's not in your face. Like you can't tell exactly what the grouping is. It kind of just weaves in and out. And he does a lot of that with over the bar line phrasing, where he'll keep like the hi-hats going and then be playing groupings on a stack or something, but it's not so obvious like some of the older prog stuff. So
Well, I also
Steve
liked
Judd.
how in their albums the way they mixed it was just different than other prog. It wasn't like so easy to hear that stuff.
Yeah.
Just the way they texturized it.
Yeah.
I always found that interesting with Carnival. It was a little different than like Spock's Beard or Yes.
Yeah.
Like
or-
more open sounds. That's what I was getting. Like,
Yeah.
like big cymbals, washing, big open drum sound.
Totally,
A lot
yeah.
of definition.
Yeah.
Big almost like a pop rock record almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even, I think even now it's hard to find a lot of good footage of him. There's a few live clips I think that he's filmed on his own, but yeah, kind of just floats under the radar, and yeah, we should feature him.
Do not forget Steve Judd, everybody.
Steve Judd.
Yeah, go listen to some of his music. It's
All
great.
right,
Yeah.
this next one I'm very excited
One
about.
more. Yeah, this is a band I didn't get into until maybe 3 years ago or so.
I didn't know
And-
they were a band.
Oh, and definitely not a band that drummers
I thought it
usually
was a
check out.
guy.
Well, it is.
Oh, now I'm confused.
But the live show is, I think they have like 10 or more people on stage.
Okay.
Bon Iver is the band, or the guy. And there's actually two drummers who record on the records and play live, and it's Sean Carey and Matthew McCoffin. And I've never heard double drumming as interesting as this. There's a lot of stuff from the 70s where you hear like Cobham and other guys playing together, Jack DeJohnette and a few other drummers on like the Miles records. But this is just totally outside the box. So this is a song called Peart. And yeah, let's check it out. Yeah. So
Jeez.
Vibes.
And the cool thing, like that's a live version of that, but on the record, they'll often have, I don't know who, but one of them will play like a more standard part. And then the other one will play something really unconventional and just not usually like a groove. It's more texture stuff. And in that particular song too, one of them is usually playing double bass while the other is playing textures. So
It's so easy to write off singer-songwriter drummers because the people think the parts are simple. But to make some of those musical choices, and in that case, like to make that whole thing come together,
Yeah.
that takes some serious chops.
Well, yeah,
So cool.
they're replicating like a highly produced sound,
Yeah.
like layers.
It's like an
and layers.
orchestra.
Exactly. And so then they're trying to represent that in a live show.
And killing it.
Yeah. But I do wonder, like, I would ask them, you have two kits that are relatively similar in sound and look, like even the setup. So maybe would you want why not go with one?
Yeah.
that's
Who plays lead
poppy?
drums? Who plays
Yeah.
rhythm drums?
yeah, and does it all switch? Or is one of them, I don't actually know, like maybe one of them has a role for everything and the other has a different
Yeah,
role.
because you look at like the Allman Brothers, who will have two drummers.
Yeah.
They're often just playing together. This is different.
Yeah.
This is like elementally different, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So Carey and McCaughan?
Sean Carey
Sean
and
Carey,
Matthew McCoffin, I believe.
McCoffin, got it. From the band Bon Iver, not Bonnie Bear, in case you're curious. And it's a band and a person, just like Sade.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. We're going to show an honorable mention while Dave gets in the hot seat next.
Sure.
To share his apparent ideas on what for a drummer is. Check out this video of one of my favorites, people that we forget plays drums.
Oh,
Yeah, check this out. This is Karen Carpenter, everybody.
yeah.
Hey,
Those are good
so-
times.
So
He's a great drummer.
I was thinking about that as we started to go through the drummers. It's like all of our favorite drummers are guys. Is that true?
On this list, yes.
It's
that
not
crazy?
it's not favorite. This isn't our favorite.
Forgotten.
Yeah, I guess so. Hey.
What does that say about us?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I did kind of go back through and look like, was I missing? There is one that I was going to put in, but I couldn't find a clip that would suit it. Yvette Pryor
Yeah.
goes by, what does she call herself? Yvette Baby Pryor, I think. She, for many years, I think, is still touring when Michael McDonald goes on tour by himself. Phenomenal drummer and singer. But like a lot of unsung heroes, not a lot of footage.
Yeah.
Hard to find.
Well, plus, I mean, it's really shifted in the landscape.
Absolutely
of,
true.
Like, way more women are playing drums than ever,
Yeah.
I think. I'm hearing from some teachers that half of their students are now
No kidding.
Love it.
like women. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. So I think like years from now, when we're not here anymore, someone else is doing the drum department. Do you think that'll happen one day?
Probably.
They
I
do
hope
it-
so. That's my greatest hope.
And they're-
Legacy.
And they're recycling old
Sure.
topics.
Yeah.
They're going back to the old archives. What are these 4 old fossils we're talking about?
Yes.
That's when us will be featured on there. The Forgotten Drummers,
I'm down with
guys.
that.
They're that Brandon Taves guy.
Nothing would make me
yes.
happier. My grandkids are like, there's Granddad again.
Oh, what do you got, Dave?
All right, so I chose three. My three are from pretty famous bands, but what when I was watching them and
You did
listening
read the
to them-
assignment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
But when I was listening to them, like back in the day, they never were really featured in anything. You know, they never really stood out. It was always about the other members of the band. And like I was a drum nerd, so in the Modern Drummer, they were never shown there. It was always like the Dave Weckels and the Vinnie Colaiuta, the Steve Gads, Joey Jordison and stuff, right? So the ones I chose first on the list, I mean, I'm a punk rock guy. It's Eric Sandin from NoFX. Also known as Smelly, but you got to remember this guy.
Let's go.
This guy has been in that band since the early '80s, one of the OGs, and he helped define the punk rock sound. And when you think about punk rock, you know, Fat Mike is quoted by saying, you know, punk rock is good music played by shitty musicians. And I think that's the best way to define it. But when you think about what you have to do to be in Smelly's position, to be able to play an hour and a half show at that speed with that intensity, and not only that, but the songs they wrote, they had Odd Time in there, Bottles to the Ground. They had an epic. This clip that I'm going to show you is from their song The Decline, which is like an 18-minute prog punk master jam. And they actually recorded it with a full orchestra in Oregon, I believe. So check this clip out. This is Smelly on stage with a full orchestra playing The Decline. Okay,
What time signature was that?
so it's exactly.
It's
and
more
this is-
complex than I would have expected.
when I was learning this song back in the 90s, I didn't even know what Odd Time was. But I can play that song, and I have to give that band and Smelly a lot of credit for some of the stuff that I would have to practice. That's a mix of 4/4 and 7/8.
Okay.
And there's a lot of that in their songs, and I don't know if it was Smelly or if it was Mike or whoever was writing the song at the time, but my goodness, some of those parts are so
Yeah.
cool. Sit down for all you drummers out there who think you got a good punk rock endurance and vibe to you. Play The Decline, see if you can do the whole song throughout, because it's progressive, it's got super fast parts, it's got slow melodic parts, it's got odd time like that, and that's just a fraction of it. So yeah, I encourage you, especially if you're into punk rock, go and check out Smelly. There's not a lot of content out there because punk rock, right? They don't really like
He's criminally underrated.
criminally
Criminally
underrated.
underrated.
And he's still doing it at his age, still playing shows. I watched him last summer, and I'm like, yeah, of course, he takes some liberties. You know, he doesn't do all.
How old is
this,
he?
I don't know. I don't want to tell you an
Okay,
age here.
but like,
so.
well, yeah, I guess no effects, early '80s, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
our age.
82, I think.
Probably older.
Probably older.
Probably in
than
his
us.
50s. That's amazing.
So yeah, go check him out. It's severely underrated. I think a lot of punk drummers are underrated.
Yeah.
Like you hear about the Travis Barkers out there, but like the hardcore, like Rancid drummers, even going to like Sum 41 and like the pop punk era, Offspring, those drummers did a lot. And yeah, I just think that they're forgotten in amongst the sea of all these other drummers. So
Jay Nitty from Drumeo says Smelly stinks.
yeah,
I'm sure he's just.
there's a
just
reason why
joking.
he's got that nickname. I'm not going to talk about
I'm
it
just
now.
in the YouTube chat right now. Some fantastic suggestions in here. Rick Gratton, Canadian drummer. Ed Green.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Prairie Prince from the Tubes.
Nice.
What did I see? Another one here. Daryl Sweets from the Sweets. Bunny Carlos, absolutely. Some great choices here.
We should put a short list together.
Oh, Jim Gordon, of course, as well. We did a whole episode on Jim Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon?
Sure.
Okay, so my next drummer.
No
on
doubt,
the-
Dave.
Dave, that's
No
your
doubt.
best joke you've ever made.
There it is.
So the next one, Adrian Young. Do you guys know who Adrian Young is?
yeah.
So when I
Don't
was
speak about him.
don't speak. When I get tripped up on spiderwebs here. When I was young, I listened to the album
Doubt.
Tragic Kingdom from No Doubt, and it completely changed the way I approach the drums. I don't know if, and this is why I chose him and why I would suggest you go and listen to him, because I don't know if that album would have been the same if they threw any other drummer on there. It's a clinic of like a perfect hybrid of like ska meets punk meets kind of rock. The song that I have a clip here from is from the actual title track, Tragic Kingdom, which is a bit progressive in there too. It's got these orchestrated parts. It's got this halftime section. It's got really cool stuff on the hi-hats. And if you listen to the whole album too, Don't Speak, Just
gonna
a
get to
Girl.
the clip, or-
Yeah, I'm gonna get to
Okay.
the clip here. Okay, show the clip.
Boom.
Show the
Thank
clip.
Was a magical place, over time it was lost. Rising breeze across. Now the fortune of the kingdom is locked up in its dungeon walls. The castle floor lies in drag, record by your setback, decoyed by your cheese. Now the drawbridge has been lifted as a million they drop to their knees. And they are the super king whose dreams are buried in their minds. It takes a frozen skin, icicles drip from his eyes.
Yeah.
That takes
Nice.
me back.
Right? Oh man, you could just pop any song on that album out and you could just practice and jam and have such a good time. And when I think about some of the grooves that I play, a lot of times when I wanted to play that kind of genre, those are the songs that I'm humming in my head to get into the vibe and the feel. So yeah, I just think he's underrated. I don't think he got as much credit as he deserved in the drum scene. And yeah, check him out.
His open, like, left foot stuff, he does a bunch of stuff that's actually pretty tricky. Like Just a Girl. There's a few things in Just a Girl you're like, that's a little awkward to play.
Yeah.
Well, it taught me like this kind of. Like that, I remember learning that on that album, and I use that to this day all the time.
And he was like, when he got the gig, he was barely playing the drums. I think it was one of their techs.
No.
I think
Well, that's
so.
that's what someone said in the YouTube chat. They said Adrian Young is totally self-taught as well and wasn't playing very long before being in the band. He's an original Orange County drums OG.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Goes to show you, though, when you're put in a situation to sink or swim, he swam, and he created some great drum parts just because he had to.
Yeah.
And I think being in that sort of environment where you have to create,
Yeah.
that helps. You were talking earlier about the artistic
Yeah.
purity. That, in a way, is also artistic purity because he was in this position where he's like, well, I just got to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
So he just had to do it
Yeah.
and came out with some great stuff.
Okay, my last pick from arguably one of the biggest bands.
Isn't it your fourth?
I got
Feels
six.
like it.
Okay, I'm just bringing fanfare to the
It's gonna be a
to
long
this,
stream, everyone.
Right?
Apologies.
Fanfare.
I didn't know Insane Clown Posse had a drummer.
Yeah, okay. So this last one is from arguably one of the biggest rock bands in the early 2000s. But yet when they came out, everything was about the lead singer
Let's
and
see
the
the clip.
guitarist. Okay, let's show the clip. It's John Otto from Limp Bizkit, guys. Here we go.
Just think about it. Just think about it. Lately I've been skeptical, silent when I would used to speak, distant from all around me. The witness me fail and become weak. Life is overwhelming. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'd love to be the one to disappoint you when I don't fall down. But you don't understand when I'm attempting to explain. Because you know it all and I guess things will never change. But you might need my hand when
Is that in the
falling in
event?
your hole.
It's in the show.
Okay.
I think like if you want.
Yeah, just you send it to me.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so just listen back to that clip. That song's rearranged. Listen to how much is going on with those ghost notes that he's adding. Sounds like he's got 2 snares. He's doing lots of cool hi-hat tricks, openings and closes. That's the same with a bunch of his other songs within the band, but it's a hardcore, rapcore, nu metal style, and they have space for that. And that's where I think only a drummer like John Otto can really push that through. And my goodness, it's tight. Try to play one of those songs like he does. It's harder than you think. And instead of Wes Borland and Fred Durst getting all the attention, I think John Otto
The only
deserves
thing
some.
I have to add to that is if you cut those drums out of that,
It's a totally different song.
but if you take the drums out and just isolated the drums, that is like tight, clean, funky drumming.
Yeah.
Like it is tight.
You know when you play on those kits where the snare is so tight that if you can't make a mistake, you have to, like that sounds like how he recorded
That's
it.
basically pre-Pro Tools.
Is
It's in that era where that's probably him playing it completely. There's no nudging, no moving. So
Yeah.
the man can play the drums, and
Yeah.
and to go from that to like the powerful, heavy stuff they would do too.
Yeah, and to have be able to keep space in there for that. Yeah, fantastic. Go check him out. And John Otto, if you are watching this, come on Drumeo.
Yes.
Please.
Is he still playing with Limp Bizkit?
Yeah.
That's
They just did a tour like 2 years ago, and they have a new album out from, or no, I shouldn't say new, 2021, and it's got some good vibes. It's
Sure.
good. Yeah.
They actually changed their band name though. It's called
they
Stiff Cookie now.
That's the worst joke I think I've ever seen.
Well,
Do we have an honorable mention while we switch
we
it up?
do. One of my all-time favorites, Kirk Covington. If you guys don't know who Kirk Covington is, he is a phenomenal drummer, a phenomenal keyboard player, and a super funny guy. But this is just a little clip of him actually jamming.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk is a beast.
He is.
I saw him play at the Vancouver drum show one year.
Oh yeah.
And he had the piano really high.
Oh, no
He
kidding.
was doing some stuff, and then he'd just shred on drums. I don't even know if he was using a looper or something. There.
He's just such a like musical guy.
Yeah.
Check him out with some of his best work is with Scott Henderson, it's a band, Tribal Tech,
Yes.
90s fusion band, but just phenomenal stuff. Jared,
Yes.
you've got some unsung heroes here, some forgotten drummers.
Yeah. So I actually saw mine listed in the YouTube chat. Someone
No
else
way!
is
Yeah.
also aligned with me. So thank you very much. You're going to get Dave's drum set.
All right. And
I think it was your wife, wasn't it? She's in there. Hey, Jeremy,
So I grew up in like music in the early 90s. I absolutely loved that. Later I got into like Toto and things like that, but Jeff Porcaro is not really a forgotten drummer. So one of the drummers that I love from the early to mid 90s is a guy named Jeremy Taggart from Our Lady Peace. And Our Lady Peace, I don't think they're even around anymore.
They're
I know-
touring.
They're touring, but
They
I know
are.
he left the band at
Long
some
time
point,
ago.
and he went to do like more very, very underground kind of Canadian media. They had a show called Taggart and Torrens and other
right. Yeah.
things like that. And so he's still active on Twitter every now and then while I'll reply to something he posts. But he created some of like the most iconic sounding drum parts.
Oh, yeah.
And some of my favorite drum parts from that era. So check out this clip of Jeremy Taggart.
That's not quite clear. Twitch. All that look unfit, unfit. I remember falling. I remember marching like a one-man army through the blaze. I know I'm coughing. I believe in something. I don't wanna remember falling for your lies.
All right, so the red, like fire red AOT drum
So
set.
good.
With the wood hoops.
The wood hoops, big open sound, the Ray AOT era. Like this,
Yeah.
I had one of those drum sets that I sadly, like an idiot, sold. Brandon, did you ever play that drum set?
I didn't.
No.
No.
That's unfortunate.
That was a nice era, man.
But one of the best sounding things, I don't even have a drum key here, but was the beat off of Navid.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'll just quickly
groove.
play it.
Nice.
And the snare apparently was it a Ludwig? What is those old Ludwig steel?
Oh, probably Superphonic? Or is it an Acrolite? Yeah.
Superphonic.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my first. Next one is also from kind of the mid 90s, and I don't know if he's necessarily been forgotten, but this is someone
Super underrated.
I think very underrated. It's not prog. I would say it's like in the between. Like what would you call this style, Kyle? It's not pop.
But it's that era, because like Limp Bizkit has some combinations of that stuff. Limp Bizkit kind of has this. Linkin Park has sort of the same kind of hybrid. Incubus kind of is rock and punk and
Yeah.
funk.
So the next one is Jose
Yeah.
Paziles. Sorry, I'm butchering
Yeah.
it. From Incubus. And so
Yeah, right over there.
No, I'm just like that. Like, I totally
like
forgot
it.
about Incubus, but yeah, he's totally an underrated drummer.
yeah.
Sorry, please.
What is that other? The first album is, I forget the name, but
Science, or is that the second record or third record?
I'm blanking out. But then there's Megalomaniac,
Yeah.
which if you have a chance to listen to Megalomaniac, you should absolutely do it. I believe this clip is from Megalomaniac, and you'll hear a lot of these kind of this really cool offbeat hi-hat groove into the chorus, which I think just like complements it perfectly. But it's such a unique musical choice. It shows his some of his facility and creativity. So check it out.
Leave me here in mine. Start craving sex, a little world. Leave me here in mine. Start craving sex, a little
So it just kind of keeps on complementing the guitar parts rhythmically really, really well. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I liked Carter Beauford so much, because the way Carter plays is also similar in that he's listening to the vocal, he's listening to other things that are happening rhythmically, and then just kind of using his drum set to complement them and different parts of his kit. So yeah, Jose Paziles, check it out.
Great choice.
Rock radio allowed us so much more latitude back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because stuff like that, every example I think that you've shared, and a couple that Brandon shared, would have been on pop radio back then. And it's now it's sort of hard to find. In fact, there's not a lot of actual drumming on a lot of new material. So we were lucky still at that point for sure.
Yeah.
I miss
Jose
that the
Paziles.
golden era, but I guess that's what all people say when
I
they
think
get to
so,
our age.
yeah.
Every golden era is when you're in your 20s.
Yeah, like Crow left from the murder's probably 20.
You're living
some
your
years old
golden era
now.
right now, Brandon.
That's hard to believe.
right.
Have you even heard of Incubus?
Of course.
Have you?
I have.
What's your favorite song?
I only know like two. They do Drive and they do, what's the other one?
That's good.
There's one more. Which one?
That's
Amber.
311.
That's 311, buddy.
Chad Sexton.
Same thing.
They're great too.
For me, it's Pardon Me. I love Pardon Me.
That one. Those are the only two I've heard.
Sure.
Okay, my last one is actually the guy was a drummer for Annie DeFranco. Does anyone remember Annie DeFranco? I don't remember. Wasn't a huge fan back in the day. but
Lilith Fair, darling.
Okay, but I've got into her, watched her Tiny Desk concert and some of the other stuff she's done. Fantastic. But he started playing drums for her for around 7 years, and then he went and did his own project. So I'm going to show you a clip of his solo project. But if you think about this, like this person was a drummer on tour as a drummer, not a songwriter or a producer, and then they went and produced music like this and chose very, very simple drum parts. But they focused on sound, they focused on the song, and I just have a lot of respect for someone like that. Speaking about artistry and just doing whatever they want, I think he created such an awesome album. So if you have a chance, you can. I think the album is called 5 Star Motel, and this is Andy Stochansky.
I dream about stars here. I dream about bringing you a parade. We read foreign papers, pretend we're hiding from an air raid, but I can't know why I always stutter.
So everyone's waiting for like, where's the big fill?
No,
Is he going to
no.
displace that eighth note crew? It's like, no, that's it. And
Just meat and potatoes.
he's playing guitar, he's singing, he wrote the freaking song. I mean, and then he chose that part.
Yeah.
And he's like a drummer. So I think a lot of drummers who kind of came up like that would have probably gone a little bit more crazy with their drum parts that they chose. But I think it's pretty cool. So I doubt anyone has ever heard of him before and known his background. But now you can
How
check
did
him
you
out.
find him? Hear about
Back in the day on tour, when we were like back in in my early 20s, mid 20s, when I was touring more, we would go to like Tower Records in every local city, and we would sit there and just get the headphones on.
Oh,
and this was one of the
classic.
albums
Yeah.
there. We bought it, and then we spun it like
Wow.
crazy.
That's great. I love it.
I heard,
love
like
stories
back
like
in the day, I heard Maroon 5. We were in Nashville, and someone gave us a burned CD of Maroon, and they
Nice.
wrote on there, Maroon 5, check out this new band. It was like a pre-release.
Oh my
It's like,
goodness.
who's Maroon 5? What a stupid name.
What a stupid name for a band. I love
So Jack Johnson, we discovered back then, like super beachy drum vibes. I
Right.
like.
Yeah, that's a great choice, and like what an exercise in minimalism and support.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we're going a little long today, but thank you everyone. Some great suggestions. Chat's been going crazy the whole time. I want to challenge every one of you out there watching live. Leave here today with at least 5 drummers you're going to go check out.
Yeah.
Please. If you're listening to the podcast, awesome. Take any of these suggestions and check them out. There's 15 to choose from here, plus the honorable mentions. So,
Well, yeah, and if
please.
this is, I would love to see this as a YouTube comment section, just with a list of great unsung or forgotten
be
heroes.
a mile long.
Yeah, because
and
you
all
can just
good.
jump in and like explore new drummers. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and share if you can share a link. I know
Yeah.
in Drumeo you can do that in the comments. You can go ahead and put a YouTube link or whatever, or a Spotify link. But on YouTube, if you can, then share a link so
Yeah.
we know what. Like we can just go to the actual video that you are recommending.
Totally. Super cool. Thank you so much, guys, for doing the work and getting that all in. That's awesome. I learned a whole bunch today. Hope everyone out there did too. But now it is time for one of my favorite segments, Groove of the Week. This week's Groove of the Week is brought to us by a drummer named Finn Draper. Do you guys know who Finn Draper is?
No.
Does really cool videos. He's actually a producer, kind of like Andy Stochansky, in that he plays a bunch of different instruments. Drumming happens to be one he's really good at, but he does some really clever little Insta clips that someone had sent me, and this is just a lot of fun. So you can go check him out. It's at Finn_Draper, just as it sounds. But check out this awesome video. This is our Groove of the Week.
Guess the song from the intro.
That was
That's
great.
crazy.
Drumstick thing.
That's just kind of secondary to the video. That's just how he always plays that. tune.
It's got
That's
16
how
notes.
Isn't that how JR played that? on the album?
My favorite thing about that whole clip is like every one of those little videos, he does one low-key ridiculous move.
Yeah.
And he does it like he's waiting for the bus. Like,
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, what's his handle?
in his kitchen. It's at Finn_Draper.
He's got obviously TikTok.
He does have the TikToks. He has the Instagrams.
Well, you gotta follow for
He's a
me.
producer, so go check him out. He's got lots of cool stuff. There's a couple of videos where he's playing like jars of water, and he's super creative, very inspirational. All right. That's someone outside that we want to feature. Let's feature one of our students inside Drumeo. That's right. It's time for Student of the Week. Okay, our Student of the Week this week is Lucas Plonk. Lucas is a fantastic drummer. He's been playing since he was 5 years old. You know Lucas. I know you do. But he started at 5. He says he barely remembers why he chose the drums. I think that's a great answer. Just maybe they found him, right? He had private lessons until he was 18. Said he played in school, of course, did all that stuff. He played in a band for a while. At the end of his studies, living in apartments and working as a sound tech, he slowly put his passion aside. That explains his drum sound, because he knows how to dial up a pretty good drum sound. He says COVID strikes and he gets back to the drums, which is a wonderful thing. Checked out some videos from drum beats online, and then Heather Thomas on Drumeo.
Nice.
He's been with Drumeo since 2020. He's taken part in some student reviews. He's a really great drummer. So let's check out and celebrate Lucas Plonk, everybody.
Very good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Congrats.
Killer.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Lucas Plonk, everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if you want to join Drumeo and check out all the cool stuff we do, it's not just silly YouTube videos and awesome YouTube videos like what Brandon does. My stuff's silly. His stuff's really cool. Somewhere in the middle. But we have a great community of drummers as being part of a member of our community. If you ever want to do that, all you got to do is trundle on over to drumeo.com/trial, and you can check us out for 7 days for free.
Kyle, if they do
You
that,
all right, bud?
will they get a farmer's tan like you have?
They will definitely
Look
get
at
a farmer's
that, look
tan.
at that.
Because you know why? Because it's called
Oh, no,
a
I think it's that camera.
it's called a studio tan.
Look at that.
That's a studio tan.
I love that, man.
I'm not left out very much, so that's pretty. Wow. Yeah.
It's not bad, man. That's not
bad.
bad.
Sun's out, guns out. You know what I'm saying? I gotta call the vet. You know why?
Oh, no.
I gotta call the vet.
Why?
These pythons are sick. Anyways, sorry you set me up for that. But yeah, come hang out with us. We got lots of cool stuff going on. We got 5,000 songs. We got drumless songs. We got education from the world's finest drummers. In fact, that song you heard is a track by Simon Phillips where he plays it inside Drumeo. I think we probably even have that drumless. In fact, I'm quite certain that's what he's playing to. Pretty cool. And we have the full transcription of that.
Yeah.
So he can learn it, though Lucas put his own spin on it. Phenomenal, right? All right, Jared, it's time for new gear. So before we get into that, we got to see the splash screen. So new gear, everybody.
Sorry, is this a new gear?
I'm just doing this to annoy Jared at this point. Yeah, there's two things there on the floor.
It's a lot of
Today,
transition screens.
well, there's a lot of stuff happening. Today we are going to talk about some tackle products. Tackle Instrument Supply is a purveyor
weird
of some
glove.
great stick bags and cymbal bags and all kinds of cool drum accessories. And we have a couple. That's okay. Yeah, that's
It's a puppet.
It's a mitten, not a
It's a
glove.
mitten. So what we have here today is two things. Jared actually has in his hand the hi-hat stick holder.
Oh, it's a hi-hat stick holder.
Yeah, so no, if you notice there's that ring, okay, very good. I love this. I love doing these because they're totally intentionally unrehearsed.
It's kind of weird. I don't know how it functions with the sticks in there. Might fall over.
It does
Okay,
work.
let's see. It looks good.
It actually helps
I'm going
the
to make a
sticks.
suggestion.
says
If
what
you
it
could maybe
says.
take the hi-hats off the stand,
Okay.
put that underneath the bottom cymbal.
I see. Well, that's
Yeah.
clever.
Intuitive.
There we go.
Oh, and it might, if you lose your felt, I'm
You
guessing
could.
it would protect that.
And then if you wish, you can strap the bottom has a little strap on the bottom to tighten to the stand. Easy now.
Strap it on.
You can do it.
So like this.
Play
Yeah.
it.
There you go. Look at you.
Let's taint.
Jared's learning. Jeez. Good callback, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've
so
been
I
waiting
see.
the whole
Just like
episode.
that.
There you go.
Ah, actually, that is pretty cool.
Nice.
Done for the day.
So that's called, obviously, the hi-hat stick holder. It's got a great name. It's made of leather. Unfortunately, if you're a vegan, I'm sorry, but it's pretty cool. Sells for about $40, so really affordable and much more stylish than those
Yeah.
ugly black tubes that you can have.
Yeah,
Right?
and a lot less in your face too. Those tubes
Too much.
were too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got one more quick thing from them to show off. It's their coffee table practice pad.
Coffee table practice.
Yeah.
I have never seen this.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
here.
that is a practice pad.
There?
The
With you?
top, yeah, you got it. The top is made of leather, and then the wood part, the base, is actually walnut.
Okay.
Okay, and then there's some felt on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see. It doesn't give you a ton of rebound,
Right.
which is actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit denser or drier feeling.
Right.
Leather pad, hey?
Now that's not an inexpensive practice pad because of the leather and the walnut. It's about $75. Good catch.
Yeah, this is nice. Here,
Over
cover
2
some
laptops,
sticks.
I might point out. Wow.
It's not bad.
No other way.
Try
Dave.
the other way,
Wrong
though.
side, Dave.
I'm trying both.
It's not double-sided.
It's not. I just played the other side though.
Oh, Jack. Oh, that's what happens.
You made a splash
or
just for
did
us.
you? That was great.
What happened?
Are we full of it? Hey, but honestly though, I actually really like this feel, and it's nice. It's like it's not too big for your coffee table.
Yeah, if you live in an apartment or a place, or you really you like that's the kind of practice pad aesthetically it would look nice on a coffee table. I get why they call
Yeah.
it the coffee table practice pad.
You know we sell practice pads, right?
I
As
do.
a company, and that's how we
I
pay
am
for all
risking.
this.
I am risking that a little bit. Yes.
All right, I just want to be
Thanks,
sure.
Jared.
but we don't sell one like this.
That's right. That's the answer right there.
And we don't sell this one either, but you can
That
get
is a
it
good
for
one.
free.
All right, let's give away this because Jared doesn't want it around here clearly,
Well, I do kind of want it.
and the hi-hat stick holder. We're gonna give that away to one of our members right now. Jared, give me a number between 1 and 10.
7.
7. It's gonna go to Graham Wendy.
Graham,
Congratulations, Graham Wendy. You have won this practice pad and that hi-hat thingy. Go ahead and email me at krad@drumeo.com and we'll get these sent off to you forthwith as quick as possible. All right, that's it for this week's episode, everybody. Thanks to all of you for being here. Members, we're going to come right back and answer some of your questions. But before we do that, we have to give away membership to someone on YouTube.
6.
We have to do
Give
it.
it
6.
to the person that said Jeremy Taggart.
You right in the beginning.
Good one.
No, it was like probably, well, based on
Oh,
how long
really?
you went, probably 45 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh.
Geez, sorry for adding some fanfare to the episode.
Okay, what we're going to do, Roman, if you're out there, please see if you can find that name, and we're going to reach out to that person and give them a year's
Oh, yeah?
membership to Drumeo.
Wow.
Let's do that.
That's
Read
perfect.
the transcript.
So you're looking for Jeremy Taggart as a suggestion.
It was spelled wrong. It was spelled Taggart. But
Taggart?
it's- Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
All right,
that'll
so
be an easy way
we'll
to
find
do
that person. We're going to give them a 1 year membership to Drumeo. Everybody else, have yourselves a great week. We'll be back again next week. Members, we'll be right back to answer your questions. Everybody, have a great week.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Happy holidays.